This is the video tutorial for the Happy Days Candy child size bag, and this is how we make it. You'll need contrasting fabric, a cam snap, and interfacing is optional. We'll start by making the strap like this one. I'm showing you on a smaller piece. First of all, place your strap fabric right sides down so you're looking at the back and fold in half and crease. This is much better done on your ironing board. Then fold over to this crease, so this edge and this crease in the middle meet up, and once again press, and then bring this edge over and press, and then fold everything over, press, and then add a few clips. Once you've added your clips, take it over to your sewing machine. I always increase my stitch length to a 4 and top stitch quite close to the edge all the way along the open side and then along the folded side, and you'll end up with a strap like this. We're now working on the flap. I've added interfacing to mine, but it is optional. Place right sides together and line up all the sides and edges, so pretty side to pretty side, and then add some clips all around the curved area. I've clipped all the way around. We're not clipping along this top edge. Now I'm going to take it out of my sewing machine and use a 1/4 inch seam allowance starting here, sew carefully all the way around. Be very careful around the bottom curve and then come back to the top and stop. I've sewn all the way around, and I've also carefully snipped around the curve bit for a much nicer finish. And now I'm going to turn it through the top. I've turned it the right way out and pressed it and made sure that the curves a nice shape. And now I'm going to top stitch carefully all the way around. And once again I'm going to increase my stitch length to a 4. I've top stitched all the way around, and now I'm going to attach it to the back of our bag. Place your back fabric piece right sides up and fold in half and finger press just the top, open out. This is so we can find the centre. And the flap you've just made, do exactly the same and finger press at the top, and then place your flap and line up your creases you've just made so it's in the centre. If you're using different fabric for the front of your flap, I'm not, so it doesn't affect me, but it might affect you. This will be the front of your flap, the piece that you'll see. So you'll be looking at the back of your flap now. When you're happy that it's all lined up, add a few clips at the top. I'm now going to take it over the sewing machine and sew fairly close to this edge and tack the flap to the outer. You won't see these stitches in your final make. I've tacked my flap, and now I'm going to place my other outer piece on top, line up all the sides and edges and add some clips all the way around. I've added clips all the way around, but I haven't added clips along this top edge. I'm now going to take it over the sewing machine and use a 1/4 inch seam allowance starting here, sew carefully all the way round, take your time and stop. I've sewn all the way around, and I've also clipped with my scissors carefully around the curve bit, and I'm now going to turn it the right way out through the top. I've turned the bag the right way out and I've pressed it, and we're now going to attach the strap. To add the strap, open your bag up and using the seam, take your strap and place it centre. You could measure it or eyeball it as I'm doing, and make sure that your strap is facing down and the raw edge of your strap and the raw edge of your bag should meet, and then pop a clip on. And do the same for the other side. I've clipped both ends of my strap into place and I've made sure that it isn't twisted. And now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and carefully tack across the top there and the top there. I've tacked my handle into place. I've ensured that my handle's running down the centre, and now we're going to work on the lining. Place your lining fabrics right sides together, so pretty side to pretty side. Line up all the sides and edges and add some clips. I've added my clips and I've also left my gap sign, so I've got a gap for turning later. I'm now going to take it over the sewing machine, and as we did before, 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. Take your time once again as you hit the curves. Leave a gap, start again to the top. Remember, we're not sewing across the top. I've sewn all the way around and I've remembered to leave my gap, and I've also snipped around the curved area. I'm going to leave this the wrong way out, and the next stage is putting everything together. To put everything together, first ensure that your handles are facing down, your tab is facing down, and your lining is still the wrong way out. So take your handle and move it over, fold in half, take your lining, and carefully pop inside. I always pull my handle through the gap so it's out of the way. Line up your side seams and add clips, both sides, and add some clips then all the way around. I've lined up my side seams and top edges and added some clips all the way around. I'm now going to take it over the sewing machine and this time use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Carefully sew all the way around, joining the outer and the lining together. I've sewn all the way around using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and this is joined the outer to the lining. I'm now going to turn the bag the right way out through the gap I left. I've turned the bag the right way out and pushed out all the seams and pressed it. I've turned in the raw edges of the gap, and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and sew carefully along, closing the gap. I've sewn up the gap in my lining and I've tucked the lining inside the bag. I've lined up the top edges and pressed it. I'm now going to top stitch all the way around. When you top stitch, ensure that your handles are out of the way and your flaps out of the way. I've top stitched all the way around. We're now going to attach the cam snap, but first we need to find where the centre of our bag is. So fold your bag in half and press. Now we need to find the centre of your tab, so fold your tab in half and press. Using the centre crease, measure 3 centimetres from this edge and make a mark. I'm going to push my cam snap in at this point. Now I'm going to add the other cam snap. Using that centre crease, measure 6 centimetres down, add a mark. I'm now going to attach the other part of my cam snap at this 6 centimetre mark. And that's your Happy Days Candy child size bag all finished.